for inviting me firstly.
You're most welcome.
So I think I have a fairly comprehensive view of this subject, having grown up in Lord Macaulay's system, actually with La Martiniere, which is started by Claude Martin in Calcutta and was in Macaulay House within the school.
Okay.
Then went on to study law at Trinity College in Ireland and did my CA also in Ireland. So I've seen both sides of the coin. In terms of our current education system and the two big gaps that I see in order to take this quality of education and produce the right quality of children as a result of that education,
right.
The two big gaps that I see are as follows. The first is teaching them to be leaders. And when I say leadership, if you see any of us, there is a fine balance that we need to constantly maintain between discipline and hard work on one hand and creativity on the other. So what you have in an education system that focuses entirely on one system, which could be purely academic, means that you do not get the skill set required to think outside the box, take the balcony view, etc. Those kind of perspectives that creative energy develops. And that is one key gap in the current system, which is learning to balance leadership skills and create sort of more proactive owners of their own mind, number one. Number two, I think the most, I guess, pragmatic difference between the Indian system currently and where we are going in terms of the more developed education models is practical experience.
Yeah.
System. So in countries such as Finland or Sweden or Ireland or the UK or US, very early on, almost at the age of 6 or 7 years old, parents of children are brought in to talk about their own careers. That gives children a flavor of what life is like beyond the formal education system. They are taught and encouraged to take up internships and be part of the real world at a very early age in structured environments. We don't have that. We take people through a formal education system and then dump them into the working world. And as a result, statistically, we have one of the least employable youth. And it makes it very difficult to train them through the system to create performers and then leaders. So if we could catch them young, give them the right skill set in terms of balance, and then expose them more to the real world, I think at the end of it, we would have taken what we actually have.
You are very right. In West, what we have seen, boys and girls start working pretty soon. So at the age of 20, 21, they finance their own higher education. That's why they are serious also. I would like to ask now, Farida, yes?
Yes. Yeah. So, taking on from where Antara, mentioned about how children need to be leaders, and our education system needs to have a space where children are allowed these vocational opportunities.
Right.
But I think when you mentioned that children are least employable, where does it all begin from? It all begins from a way of thinking. How are we ensuring that we are giving or enabling our children to be able to think critically, to be able to think creatively, to be able to, it's very different to follow instructions, and that is what we've been doing for many, many years.
Right.
Following instruction and going a step-by-step procedure, and yes, staying in those clerical jobs. But Right now, if we want our country to shine, and if we want our youth to be recognized as thinkers and creators, then it has to stem from our education system,
Right.
which needs to be tweaked to in a way that encourages these thinking models.
Wonderful. Samir.
Hi,
Samir is from the industry.
I completely agree with Antara and Farida as well in terms of where we are in the education segment, and it is a requirement for a lot of change. But where I see is that though we have the largest population, let's say from the 8 factor of 24, 250 million plus students. But education is not that simple, right? The industry as such is not just bound by, let's say, the school. There are various factors which play a role. There is the school system, the tutor, there is the environment that the student is in, the background of the parents as such. So there's nothing which we really say that the only education medium is changing the school format. There are multiple factors which do play an account for the education system. Saying that, but there is an approach which has to be changed across. Couple of points which I do want to make in terms of is making sense of information is the most important, right? In the current scenario, students previously have relied a lot upon formal education to prepare themselves. But in the current scenario as such, they fail to understand concept in class. It's very easy for them to go to Google and kind of find out and do a search. So there's also there's a lot of misinformation, and they're vulnerable to a lot of other propaganda material. So there's to be a formal structure of making information readily available. Shifting on focus being the second point towards skill-based learning as experiential learning, as Antara had previously mentioned. That's very important in today's scenario because the education system, primary education system currently focuses on is intellect. Or intelligence, but what people do forget is inherent characteristics and personalities of the child are still to be developed, and that is some as a factor which they assume is being taught elsewhere. Anytime learning and any learning is a new format. Digital learning is becoming the new medium.
Right.
So learning doesn't have to be bound when you say in school itself. So you don't really have to look at an 8-hour session of school. The Indian session or the Chinese session of school time is the longest in the world. And average time, let's say, is 800 to 1,000 instructional hours a year, which is 200 days in school. But if you look at, let's say, a Netherlands or any other medium across, it's approximately 5 to 6 hours of schooling. And again, schooling itself within that time frame, how do you manage that time as well?
I think very
flexible
by Samir. Amrita.
Yes. Yeah, Samir, I agree with what you're saying right now because, you made these very valid points of 100 and 800 and 1,000 hours of instruction which are going down to the children. Now, when I'm looking at this instruction, how is this instruction being given to the children? This is this whole top to bottom approach which is happening. Children are given textbooks and teachers are giving instructions. Children are supposed to read those textbooks, regurgitate everything that they have learned. They get marks on what, is supposed to have come from those textbooks. And 1,000 hours of instruction this way, where a child is not allowed to think, allowed to express in the way he likes. There is just one form of giving this whole understanding out. And has the child really understood? That's what we need to ask. Because when we are looking at our education system, it doesn't give so much scope to know. Our assessments don't give us so much scope to know if the child is really understood. Questions are just these close-ended questions. Where did Red Riding Hood go? What color did she wear? Whose house did she go to? Who came to eat her? Why aren't there questions like if Red Riding Hood was given a mobile phone, would the story be different?
Very good, very good.